I got to tell you guys, I've never been good with microphones, or with being live. Actually, I mean on voice at least. So forgive me. I'm gonna probably have to cut the hell out of this. So this is really why I don't do live. Like, you know, my live shows are all just beats or whatever. Anyways, this is me over here. This is my hand. The hand of Die Master Monkey, also known as Gary D. You'll find me on Twitter under those names, and of course I'm the purveyor of the DronesoundTV project. And so, anyways, I thought I would try to do like a tutorial on the new sandbox mode thing, which is really like the hot part of the project now. At the moment, of course, you know, there's a bunch of different things that DronesoundTV does, but this is the hot topic at the moment. I'm probably going to have to do a couple of different takes of this. So, anyways, you just see my hands and my mobile, because actually the whole thing is meant to be used from chat, you know, just like all of DronesoundTV. And so that's all. You'll just see my hands and my phone. So I'm using it through the mobile as well. I mean, it's kind of always, the whole thing is designed for me to actually be able to use it myself, you know, without having to go anywhere or anything. Anyways, you see, this is another one of the reasons I'm not good on voice. I won't ramble. It's better if I just do beats or something. Anyways. Okay, so I've done a couple of non-spoken tutorials for the sandbox mode. Up there on the screen there, you see a copy of the chat window, which I don't usually have up. One, for performance reasons, just like drags down the FPS, which is already not great, and it's ugly, obviously. And second, you don't need it because you run the whole thing from chat. But I have it up there, even though it's ugly, so that you'll be able to see what I'm typing in, right? So, like as always, you know, for example, we type in commands around here in the chat. And the bot, you know, does stuff. No, it is not. What are the other bots? I can't remember their names. I'm just kidding. No disrespect meant to Nightbot. You guys were first on YouTube anyway. So you type in commands, you know, in chat. So that's like standard for DronesoundTV. We know that. Anyways, there's a bunch of new commands for this sandbox mode, which is what you're currently looking at. If you type in sandbox, just alone, just the word sandbox, as with most of the other commands, it will give you some information about the sandbox mode. Isn't this turning out to be informative? All right, so anyways, what it currently says, I mean, you won't be able to read it on the screen, but the message may change by the time you use it. But what it currently says is sandbox for theme sandbox. That might not be clear to noobs, but this means that you have to be in the sandbox theme. There are many different themes on DronesoundTV. We're talking about the sandbox theme at the moment. The themes are not just layouts; they're whole groups of functionality. Like, the themes actually behave differently, and this one is a Minecrafty like block-based 3D sandbox where anybody can build whatever they want. The message will tell you, for example, that if you type sandbox demo, it will give you like an on-screen tutorial. I really got to work on the on-screen tutorial. It kind of sucks, but this is the spoken tutorial. You can check that out if you want. That's an exercise left for the reader. Again, I'll remind you that you have to be in the sandbox theme for these commands to have any effect. Sadly, Sandbox does not know which theme you're in yet. But it gives you the top level commands that are currently available. It's actually missing a couple that are brand new. So you actually are going to get the head start on those. You'll find out about them before anybody else just by watching this video. So it does mention, and it will mention when you run it, the other commands include pause, which is short for position, cube, run, and sandbox spam. And then there's a link to some expert info, which will probably be updated all the time. So do check the link if you want to really know how to really exploit it and make all the kind of stuff that's like you see on the screen right there. All right, so enough of that. You know what? I just realized it doesn't actually tell you. I forgot to mention Sandbox Reset, which is how you clear the whole sandbox. We're going to do that right now, which will clear out all this stuff. Pardon me, it's like 110 degrees here. So that resets the sandbox, and it's completely cleared out now. Yes, anybody can do that. I have a whole philosophy on how these things should be done. I just like strive for maximum anarchy and let the community run it. Now, if you run the pause command, like the POS as in position, pardon me, position command, as the sandbox command will tell you. It's really weird. I'm having to crane my neck to get to the mic. Hold on one second. So anyways, if you just type pause, it'll do a couple of things. One, it'll tell you what your current build position is. So that's what pause is, POS. It stands for your build position. And you can think of it as a cursor, like how a cursor is on a text document. It tells you where the things are going to happen if you start typing. Think of it like a 3D cursor. And in fact, internally in the program, if we get into the code ever, it's actually referred to as the cursor. Each user has their own cursor, so you don't have to worry about, messing things up or whatever. So, and it also tells you how to use the rest of the command. Now, there's basically two approaches to moving around in here, but the first thing I'm going to do is just set the give you an example by typing a pause 0, 0, 0. And what this is typing in the X and the Y and the Z coordinates of where I want to move the build position to. Now, you'll remember, from high school geometry that this is the X and Y coordinates are, well, in our case, consider you were looking at the world from above. The X and Y coordinates would be, respectively, left to right and up and, up and down, right? So X and Y. Now, in this world, we call left, we call it west, right? Just like it would be on a compass, right? So this is west. To the left, if you're facing that direction, is west. To the opposite of west is east. Ahead is north. That's away from the camera if you're facing, where the camera's normally facing. But you'll see in a moment how we work out which direction is what. So, as I was saying, there's two basic ways to move your build position. I just moved it. You see it on the screen. It's that little box. And I know there's no indicator to tell you whose box it is, but there will be very shortly. So that's where my current build position is. If I do any sort of build commands in the chat, then that's where they'll happen from. It also tells you, I'm going to check the rest of it. So that's one way. I just put in pause 0, 0, 0, and it's separated by spaces, by the way. Please separate it with spaces. So, and that means X position 0 and Y position 0 and Z position 0. And in, this kind of Cartesian coordinate system, 0, 0, 0 is the middle of the world, right? And so a negative number in the Z would be going south, and a positive number in Z would be going north, and well, actually, you don't need to know. You'll find out why you don't need to know. So I just now used pause 0, 0, 0 to specifically set it in the center of the world. There's actually an alternate syntax which I haven't shown yet, but you can also type pause center if you prefer that. I don't know if it's easier. For me, it's easier because the phone auto-completes center, and it doesn't know what 0, 0, 0 is. So and that will also move your build position to the center. The thing is, okay, so, a quick digression. We have to address the fact, as we always do with everything I build on DronesoundTV, I have to address the fact that there are video streams for each user, and that they vary, actually, by user. Not only can I not accommodate each user's video stream delay, but obviously there's nothing anybody can do about it unless you can change the speed of light or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about quantum networking another time. That's an interesting topic. But so the video stream delay, not only is it bound to be not 0, but it also is unpredictable. I can't tell you exactly what it's going to be, and it might change from time to time. So the idea of you saying for each block that you want to place in the world, I did think out this design and make it specific to this kind of environment with a delay and a chat and a thing where you're using a mobile device and you don't want to type in long commands. So instead of long commands, what you have is sort of setting things and treating it more like drawing, right? So right now I'm gonna get back to this. I'm gonna type in cube. Right, so if you just type in cube and you don't give it any arguments, as we say, you don't give it any parameters, it will tell you some information about how to use cube and some examples and stuff like that. One of the coolest ways to test cube out, the very first thing you will make, just type cube me, because then you don't have to know any textures or anything like that. Yes, there are textures. And you can set them yourself, and you can provide them yourself, but that's later. And it will create a cube of you know, of your profile picture actually in the middle of the screen. It's a good way to, you know, say like, hey, I'm here in the room. I'm in the sandbox. Sorry, some water. I told you it's like 110 degrees here in California. Shout out to Bay Area. Shout out to LA too. So type cube me. That's like the hello. That's the hello world in the sandbox thing. So when I was saying you probably don't want to be like put a cube at this coordinate and a cube at that coordinate and a cube at another coordinate. So it's not really meant to be used that way, but you can use the pause command and give it X, Y, Z coordinates if you want to stick it somewhere particular, right? But basically the cubes are 100, let's call them pixels, whatever. For our purposes, let's call them 3D pixels. The cubes are 100 3D pixels in each direction, right? They're cubical. And the move commands, the pause commands, that I'll show you if you type in pause, it will tell you how to use this other version of the pause commands, which is the ones you're going to use most of the time probably. You just say instead, remember I was talking about north, south, east, west? That's what you do. You just type in pause north, and it will move one block worth to the north. Right? And if you do it this way, you don't really have to worry about lining things up or anything like that. And you don't even have to worry about, like, this is the thing, because you don't want to have to wait to see the cursor on the screen to make sure you're in the right place. And if you do it this way, then so long as you plan your stuff out right, you can kind of do it in your head first and go like, oh, I'm gonna put, you know, cubes in these places. You'll see what we're going to do there. So another easy cube is red, because it's easy to type. So you just type in cube red. Now see, after I've typed pause north, then I just typed in cube red. And it will put a red cube right there. Oh, that's funny. I've been working on this. I haven't like slept in a day, 2 days maybe. I didn't even look after I typed it. I was so confident in the damn thing. Okay, so now there's a red cube there. If you, by the way, want to replace that with a different cube, like say a blue cube, just go ahead and type cube blue, and it will just replace it. There won't be 2 cubes there. Sorry, you can't like layer cubes or anything like that, but you will be able to layer textures, but that's another story. Okay, so now we are 1 cube to the north, right? We just remember we're 1 cube to the north. Now, you can also, as I said, so this could be north, south, east, or west. And by the way, you can use N instead of north. So for example, I'm going to use pause W to go west instead of actually west, and you'll see that on the screen. Now I'm actually going slowly. You'll see. So I mean, this is a tutorial. If you're wondering like, how am I supposed to build those like rainbows? That's not what you sound like though, but I promise. So I moved it to the west, and now my build position is 1 to the west. And if you are using like numbers, if you're like trying to be tricky and make cool shit, which is, oops, I have to censor myself now, dang it. So if you are being tricky and like trying to make like really cool stuff, then these commands might be useful for you, because when you do, you know, change your position, it tells you what the new position is, right? So if you're trying to line things up manually to do like really clever stuff, that could be handy. So that's how you would move to the west, right? Well, like, what if you wanted to move like a bunch to the west? You don't want to move like 1 at a time, right? Well, so this is where I'll introduce. In fact, we'll move to the south because that'll be more interesting. So I'll move south, and I'm actually going to type pause south because it'll look better on the chat. It'll be easier to see what I'm typing because of the crappy overlay. So I'm going to type pause south, and now I'll introduce you to the X syntax. You just type like an X and how many times you want to do the thing. And so far this applies only to the pause command and to the cube command, but it will soon apply to every command, and you'll see why that's going to be cool. So now I've typed pause south times 3, or it's X3 actually, and don't put a space between the X and the 3. I'll probably make it so it can interpret that eventually, but right now that's a pain in the butt to interpret. So just put like an X and any number between, actually any number between 0 and 9. Why would you want to do it 0 times? I don't know, but if you ever need to, you can do it 0 times. You can also do it 1 times, which is just the same as not even typing that. But so pause south X3, and you'll see that it has moved to the south by 3. Right, and it gives me my new position, as I was saying. So you probably, as I said, you probably already guessed. Well, like, you know, then you would also, you could do a line of cubes by adding an X and a number, right? Again, this number must be between 0 and 9. Yes, you are limited to 9. If you want to build like a, you know, 1,000,000 boxes in the sandbox, that's fine, but you can give me some view time for that. So what I really want to see, though, is I want to see you make cool stuff. Make cool stuff. I just love giving people, like, toys and then just setting them loose. And like I was saying before, I've been building stuff like this for years. I made like a, before there was that, you know, let's paint or let's draw thing or whatever, I had this really crappy Flash app that I made for Facebook where just strangers showed up and could draw whatever they want on top of other people's drawings. And you think it would just be crap and like Nazis, but it wasn't. A lot of really cool stuff came out of it. So this is like the 3D version of that. Where was I talking about? Right, cubes. Okay, so cube. First, I'm also going to introduce you to another texture. You might want grass. So you could type cube grass. It's not just colors, and you'll see in a moment, it's actually a search that you're performing. So you don't have to type grass. You can actually type GRAS, and it will still find grass. So you can type cube grass, and I'm going to type up, because I haven't shown you that direction yet. And these are all separate words, right? So cube, GRAS, I misspelled grass on purpose, and up, and then an X, and then a 9, because 9 is the maximum that we can make in a row. That really isn't much of a problem for the pause command, because you don't really have to navigate around with it like that. If you want to get fancy, you could just jump over there, you know. Incidentally, the next new feature, while we're waiting for that to build, oh, it's done already. So the next thing that's gonna that I'm going to add is an erase command, so you'll be able to erase them, which you can't currently do. You can only clear the whole sandbox. Okay, so, and there's it's kind of got covered up a little bit by the chat, but you'll see there is a column there of 9 grass cubes or whatever. Let's see, so I'm going to move like a bit more to the north. I'm going to move north again, and I'm typing out the whole word, even though I do not have to. Again, I'll say X9 and... oh man, Google correct just tried to put a space in between there, so I'm going to have to interpret that syntax. It's all meant to be usable from, you know, from a chat client. Otherwise, what's the point? So, and that's mostly because I'm lazy. I don't want to go back in the console and have to do like back-end commands and stuff. So, I mean, I can reboot the system from here. What were we waiting for? I was waiting for it to build. Actually, it moved. There's nothing to see. So, what's next? So, I type sandbox. I'm going to type sandbox again. And you should follow along if this is how you're going to follow it. Just type these into the chat. That way, they'll keep coming back to it, right? And so, since I've already explored the pause and the cube commands, I'll type in run, because that's the next command for me to check out. And I'll type in run, and it will give me, you know, the usage blurb and all of that. Give me one moment. I need some water here, please. One moment. Okay, the run command. Let's see. What does it say? Yada yada yada. It says run replays a build script by name. Type run keyword to match to run. Wait, run. I told you I haven't slept. Type run keyword to run a matching script, and I typed this, by the way. For example, run rainbow. I mean, it's in uppercase. See, and this is why, just so that you know, you don't have to type commands in uppercase on DronesoundTV. You can if you like. In the help statements and stuff, I put it in uppercase because there's really no other way for me to indicate to you that they are commands. I started out putting quotes around them, and then people would type quotes. So I just put it in uppercase. And I would say, like, type this with a colon, and they would type this. So, whatever. All right, so, and it does give you a link to into there's some like advanced run syntax, and it gives you a sample too. So and again, this thing uses or will use the keyword search just like the textures command. Oh crap! I didn't show you textures. All right, we got to back up real quick. There is also a sandbox. I did not mention that. I got to put that back in the help. I'm sorry, it didn't even mention sandbox textures. Okay, well, to find out what kind of crap you can put, what kind of cubes you can build, you type in sandbox texture. God, it's getting hard to see my anything. You type in sandbox textures. Texture might work too. I don't really know. And it will presently display to you a really ugly listing of every single texture that will be defined on the system. And yes, we're going to add more, and you will be able to add your own as well. You can just press pause. Actually, is the way to do it. So press pause on the screen when you run textures, and you can take note of the ones that you want or whatever. And you run textures command again anytime you like. There is no charge. Oh crap, I'm getting delirious. Okay, so we were on the run command, and the run command actually advises that you run the rainbow command, run the rainbow script, which is a cool freaking script. So I'll tell you what the run command is. It's exactly what you think it is. How we just scribbled a little line of grass things and random colored cubes, that ugly little line. Well, you can collect up those commands into a single script, which is stored on the system, and then execute them again, right? And it will just draw them again. So it just repeats the same commands that you did literally in the same order. And there will be another way to save and restore models as well. But I actually kind of like watching it redraw them. It's fun. So I'm going to leave this. Later on, there will be a load command, and that'll just flat out load a model that you made before. Actually, so now that I've added it so that if a cube is placed, if a block is placed, I have some questions. So put your answers in the feedback. Should I rename them to blocks? Is that easier to type? I don't think it's easier to type. I chose cube because it's fewer letters. And there also probably will be a short version of, like an expert version, like maybe CC or exclaim C or something. Let me know what you think that should be in the comments, and I'll take it into consideration or even support them all as alternate syntaxes. Syntax? No, that's someone else. They're like some Star Trek aliens. All right, so you'll see the run command is currently running an script of an rainbow that I drew very tediously. I would do it differently now, actually. This is one of the first scripts that I wrote for it. Now, you currently do not have the ability, as a user, to provide your own scripts. If you have a really cool one that you made up before, I have provided that capability. Just send it to me, and I'll add it to the system or something. Don't send me swastikas or whatever. Okay, so you see how that works. A couple of other things that are coming. I didn't mention, I was going to say, now that when you place a cube and it deletes the other cube, it's okay and totally cool and aesthetically pleasing to run models into each other. It's okay because they will clear out the blocks so it ends up looking nice. So you can run and there's a bunch of other scripts already. So far I've made them all, but you'll be able to make your own. Furthermore, you will have, get ready for this, your own sandbox that has all that keeps your build that you're building in there, or whatever crap you're building in your sandbox. Not crap, it's all awesome. I can't wait to see them. So it will keep the stuff you're building in your sandbox, and you can go back and you can share it with your friends, and you can copy stuff from it, and you can go back there and stuff like that. So lots of cool stuff planned. Also, simplistic animations for the cubes and for entire models, like say if you wanted to rotate or light up or change colors or move around or something like that. And many more scripts that will already be made to make draw trees and flowers and crap like that. That's what you saw before. That's where all those scenes came from. They weren't drawn voxel by voxel. That's incidentally a 3D pixel. They weren't drawn voxel by voxel. They were at one time. So Cool. I think that's the whole. Wow, I think I actually got through that, and it probably took freaking forever. I apologize. It was probably really, really painful to listen to. If it's any consolation, I assure you it was more painful. It was even more painful for me. I really apologize. I mean, I want to be, like, accessible to people and stuff like that, and I got to say, I really appreciate people's, support. So thank you much for checking stuff out. And as you must have read elsewhere by now, pardon me, man, it is so dry here. As you must have read elsewhere by now, this is actually a bot which runs on a Raspberry Pi and fully designed from day one with the intention of releasing it publicly as a product so I could buy a sandwich. So if you are in favor of this project, well, actually, feedback in the comments, please, down there. Feedback in the comments, like, is this the kind of thing that the people might support on Patreon? I mean, I just want, like, there's a couple of things, actually, that the project itself could use, but mostly I just want to be able to commit time to it. And so I have a couple of plans. I mean, I intend to release it. I thought I would take the Octaprint model. Octaprint is a really cool Raspberry Pi based controller for your 3D printer. That is not a paid endorsement, but I do love Octaprint. It's cool. It has like a remote view camera. God, are you sure this isn't a paid endorsement, Monkey? That's my stage name, by the way. So, yeah, I mean, they have a free version that you could just download, and then I think they have a kit that they can send you that you can buy. And they also have, they just, like, accept Patreon or whatever, donations or whatever. So I think that's a pretty good model. I want people to be able to have it, if they have a Raspberry Pi and they're not using, they just stick this SD card image in it. That's all you need is a Raspberry Pi, and, well, that's intended to be all you're going to need is a Raspberry Pi. Right, yeah, and right now you do still need OBS and a couple other things. You can see the latest, which is an old release, over at GitHub. GitHub.com/DieMasterMonkey. Also check out Hackaday.io/DieMasterMonkey, where there is a project for this, and a couple of my other projects are over there as well. But that code is ancient. I should have said that first. That code is really, really old, and it doesn't have this sandbox stuff. That will all be part of it, of course, the next update. It's a real pain in the butt because of the way I do development. It's all live. There is no test system. I do it live on the stream while I do it. Very often my code windows are actually on the screen while I'm doing the typing. So I think I can take the chat off, right? I mean, it looks better without the chat. Hold on a second here. All right, we are back. That's Master Monkey 2. If you dig that kind of crap, do check me out at youtube.com/DieMasterMonkey. Seem to have screwed up my isolator here. There we go. Do check me out there at also SoundCloud. I'm on SoundCloud. Blah 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 blah. I guess I'm rambling. Let's see what else. That I showed you the textures. There's some secret commands, but I forgot what they are. It's a good thing I put comments in my code, because honestly, half the time, and like this is why there's help in the commands, because it's for me, actually. It's all for me. The whole freaking stupid thing is for me. These are my toys. Sandbox spam. You can run Sandbox spam, which currently is not that entertaining. It was in the beginning. It just throws random cubes out there that often have visitors' pictures on them from their profiles. It's kind of like a homage to the audience, as it were. But it's going to become more interesting. So keep your eyes on the Sandbox spam command. It'll like put models in there and stuff. What else have we got? There's box. This cube run. So I wanted to know what you guys thought about Patreon. Should I pursue that? Is it worth doing? I'm not looking for much out of it. And also, I'd like to offer these kits. If you are tech savvy and you think you could do some pretty complicated setup or whatever, and you want to get early in on it, and you got a Raspberry Pi, let me know. because I'd like to hook up with someone like that, or maybe even a contributor. A hip young kid who knows Python. So, because I want my code to be fashionable. Should we play Subchase? This is it's a fun game. I already maxed this out. I scored 99 points on it, which is, I guess I have a photograph, so if you don't believe me, come and challenge me. I could play some beats, but whatever, I think we're done. Sandbox textures, again, don't forget about that one. It's not in, apparently I dropped it out of the online help. I don't know how that happened. I'm going to see if it works with just texture. What I usually do with my commands, I try to like fuzzy match everything. That's like the power of regular expressions, right? We're gonna get geeky, yeah. I usually try to fuzzy match as much as I can. I can't all the time. Like, I can't just match text, because what if there was a command called text, which actually there kind of is. Oh, actually you can just type sandbox texture. You don't have to type textures. But still, and I'm going to add some more textures. I'll probably add some more textures right after this, because it's one of the few things I can do when I am so frazzled after like a couple of days with no sleep. But man, I made a bunch of progress on this code. So, and thanks a lot, by the way, special thanks to the Legend 27. Now, he's been like screwing people up in like multiplayer crap, but he's been pretty good to me. So, thanks a lot for you guys. Shout outs to like Johnny Durden and everybody whoever comes by ever and keeps an eye on my stuff and retweets me. Oh God, if you retweet me, you are my superhero. I'll make your own theme. No, it's a joke, because actually everybody has their own theme on DronesoundTV. That's another feature for another day. For the moment, this is going to be a master signing off, and hope to see you all around DronesoundTV real soon. Thanks for showing up. Catch you around. We now return you to your regularly scheduled DronesoundTV after this brief technical interruption.
Basically, we are kind of organizing and working collaboratively. Basically, we are kind of organizing and working collaboratively. Basically, we are kind of organizing and working collaboratively. Basically, we are kind of organizing and working collaboratively. Basically, we are kind of organizing and working collaboratively. Wow.